The letter trembled in my hands, the handwriting unmistakably hers. My mother, who disowned me a decade ago for choosing a factory job over her dreams of prestige. "Alvin, I need you," it read, her words a ghost from a past I'd buried. As I stood in my quiet kitchen, the weight of her plea cracked open a wound I thought had healed, pulling me back to a choice that would change everything. The hum of the factory filled my mornings, a steady pulse of machinery that grounded me in the small town of Millhaven, Ohio. At 38, I was Alvin Carter, a line worker at the steel plant, my hands calloused from years of wielding tools, my dark hair flecked with gray, my brown eyes steady, but carrying a quiet weight. The plant's air was thick with the scent of oil and metal, its rhythm a comfort after a decade of building a life from the ashes of my mother's rejection. But that morning, as I stood in my kitchen, a letter from her, Alvin Carter, the woman who disowned me, lay on the counter, its words a spark threatening to reignite a fire I'd long extinguished. Millhaven was a town of brick houses and maple-lined streets, its heart the factory where I'd worked since I was 28. I lived in a modest duplex, its walls adorned with photos of my fishing trips and a few sketches I'd drawn in quiet hours. My life was simple: work, beers with my crew, Sunday dinners with my neighbor, Ruth, a retired nurse who'd become family. I wasn't rich, but I was content, my days shaped by the clank of steel and the satisfaction of a job done well. The factory had been my choice, a rebellion against Lillian's vision of me as a lawyer or doctor, a path she demanded with ferocity that left no room for my own dreams. Lillian was a force, a retired school principal whose elegance and ambition had defined my childhood. She'd raised me alone after Dad left, her pride a beacon, her expectations a yoke. "You're meant for greatness, Alvin," she'd say, her green eyes sharp, her voice a command. College was her plan, a prestigious career her goal, but I'd faltered. Math bored me, essays fell hollow, and the factory's honest work called louder. When I chose the plant, she'd erupted, her words cutting deep. "You're throwing away your potential. You're no son of mine." At 28, I'd walked away, her rejection a wound that scarred but didn't break me. I hadn't seen her in 10 years, her silence a wall I'd learned to live with. That morning, I'd found a letter in my mailbox, its cream envelope stark against the bills, her cursive unmistakable. I'd stared at it, my coffee cooling, the factory's third shift still aching in my bones. "Alvin, I need you. Please come to Burlington." Lillian. No apology, no warmth, just a plea, her address in Vermont surprise. She'd move without telling me. My heart twisted. A mix of anger and curiosity, the wound of her disownment raw again. "Why now, Ma? After all this time?" My internal monologue churned, hope flickering. She might want to reconcile, but doubt anchoring me. She'd never bend. I drove to the factory, the Ohio sky a wash of gray, the radio's country twang a faint distraction. Millhaven streets were waking, kids biking, shop signs flipping to open, but my mind was on Lillian. I remembered her pride at my high school graduation, her hands squeezing mine, her dreams for me a weight I couldn't carry. I'd tried college for her, 2 years of pre-law, but the factory's call, its camaraderie, its tangible results, felt truer. Her rejection had been a storm, her voice cold. "You're choosing mediocrity." I'd left, built a life, but her absence was a shadow, her letter now a crack in my resolve. At the plant, the conveyor's rhythm steadied me, but my crew noticed my silence. Tommy, a burly welder with a quick laugh, nudged me at break. "You okay, Al? Look like you've seen a ghost." I forced a grin, my hands greasy from a machine fix. "Just family stuff. Old news." Tommy's eyes softened, his voice low. "Family's tricky. You need to talk, I'm here." His offer was a lifeline, but I wasn't ready, the letter's weight too personal, my confusion too raw. What does she want? I wondered, the factory's clang drowning my thoughts. Back home, the duplex was quiet, the kitchen's fluorescent light harsh on the letter. I sat, tracing her words, memories flooding, her reading to me as a kid, her fierce hugs, her tears when I chose a factory. I'd loved her, still did, but her rejection had taught me resilience, a quiet strength that kept me standing. Ruth, my neighbor, knocked, her silver hair glowing, a plate of cornbread in hand. "You're brooding," she said, her nurse's eye sharp. I showed her the letter, my voice steady but tight. "My mom. Haven't heard from her in 10 years. Now she needs me." Ruth's brow furrowed. "Be careful, Alvin. People don't reach out after that long for nothing." Her warning was a stone, settling in my gut. The audience could feel my tension, the slow burn of a man caught between past and present, my heart a forge of hope and hurt. I wanted to believe Lillian had changed, that her plea was a bridge, but her silence, her pride, loomed large. She disowned me for being me. Why should I go? Yet curiosity pulled. The woman who'd shaped me needed help, and I wasn't cold enough to ignore it. I folded the letter, the paper soft, and set it on the counter, my resolve forming. I'd call her, hear her out, but I'd guard my heart, the ashes of rejection a reminder of my worth. I stood by the window, Millhaven streetlights flickering, the maples swaying in the wind. The factory's hum lingered in my bones, a rhythm I'd chosen, a life I'd built. Lillian's letter was a door to a past I closed, but its weight was undeniable, a call I'd answer, if only to understand why. The suspense hung heavy. What did she need, and what would it cost me? I, Alvin, humble and hard-working, was ready to face her, my strength a quiet fire, stoked by a decade of standing tall. The Millhaven factory was cathedral of steel and sweat, its machines humming a hymn that steadied me through the long shifts. At 38, I, Alvin Carter, was a fixture on the line, my callous hands deft with wrenches, my brown eyes catching every glitch in the conveyor's rhythm. The Ohio air was sharp with oil and sparks, a world I'd chosen over my mother Lillian's dreams of prestige, a choice that cost me her love a decade ago. Her rejection, "You're no son of mine," was a scar I carried, its ache shaping my quiet dignity, my life a testament to resilience. But as weeks passed since her letter, "Alvin, I need you," its shadow loomed, stirring old wounds and pulling me toward a past I'd buried. My life in Millhaven was simple but rich, built brick by brick from the ashes of Lillian's disownment. My duplex was a haven, its walls holding sketches I'd drawn, rivers, gears, a nod to the art I'd loved as a kid but never pursued. I worked hard, saved modestly, and found joy in small acts. Fixing Ruth's porch swing, fishing with Tommy, my crewmate, on the lake. Ruth, my neighbor, was a surrogate mother, her cornbread and blunt wisdom a balm. "You're a good man, Alvin," she'd say, her silver hair catching the light, and I'd nod, her words a counterweight to Lillian's judgment. Yet the scar lingered, a quiet voice whispering I was enough, not for the woman who'd raised me. The emotional scar shaped my relationships, a subtle current the audience could feel. I was loyal but guarded, my friendships warm but never deep. Tommy, with his welder's grin, tried to pull me closer, invited me to his kids' baseball games, but I'd dodge, my smile tight. Next time, I'd say, the fear of rejection, an echo of Lillian's cold voice, holding me back. With women, I was cautious. A brief romance with barista, Lena, ended when she pushed for more, my heart retreating. "You don't let people in, Al," she'd said, and I couldn't argue. The scar wall I'd built to protect myself. My sense of self was sturdy but shadowed. I was proud of my work, my hand shaping steel, but Lillian's words, "You're choosing mediocrity," haunted me, a doubt I fought daily. My days were a rhythm of resilience, the factory a mirror to my strength. I'd rise at dawn, the Ohio sky a bruise of purple, and walk to the plant, the maple-lined streets waking around me. The line was my domain, my focus earning respect. Carter's got eyes like a hawk, my foreman, Gus, would say, clapping my shoulder. Off shift, I'd sketch at the kitchen table. The pencil scratch a quiet rebellion against Lillian's vision of a suit-and-tie life. Ruth's Sunday dinners were a ritual, her stories of nursing grounding me. Her question, "You ever think about your mom?" met with a shrug. She made her choice, I'd say, but the scar ached, a reminder of her absence. The tension built slowly, the audience sensing my unease in small moments. Pausing over a sketch, my eyes distant, staring at the letter, now tucked in a drawer, its words a pulse. Flashbacks of Lillian stung. Her green eyes bright at my science fair, her voice sharp when I quit college. "You're wasting your mind." I'd loved her fiercely, her ambition a fire that warmed until it burned. Her rejection had forced me to forge my own path, but it left a void, a question. Why wasn't I enough? I'd built dignity, pay my bills, helping neighbors, standing tall, but the scar made me question my worth, a wound reopened by her letter. The unexpected message came not as a second letter, but a voicemail, its arrival a jolt. I'd worked a double shift, my bones aching, and sat in my duplex, the kitchen dim, a beer sweating on the counter. My phone, usually quiet, blinked with a missed call from a Vermont number, no name. I played it, my heart quickening, and Lillian's voice filled the room, older but unmistakable, its cadence a ghost. "Alvin, it's your mother." I sent the letter. "I need to see you. Please call." Her tone was strained. No warmth, no apology, but a tremor of urgency that hooked me. I froze, the bottle cold in my hand. Her word a crack in my carefully built life. The audience could feel my conflict, the suspense in my widened eyes, the way I replayed the message. Her voice a bridge to a past I'd walled off. "Why now, Ma? What you need?" My internal monologue churned, hope flickering. She might want to mend things, to see the man I'd become, but fear anchoring me. Her pride had never bent. The scar throbbed, her rejection a decade-old wound. Yet her plea stirred something, curiosity, maybe duty. I thought of Ruth's warning. People don't reach out for nothing. Was it illness, money, or something darker? I stood, pacing, the duplex quiet await, the voicemail a call I couldn't ignore. I confided in Tommy over coffee at the plant. The machines hum a backdrop. My mom called. I said, my voice low, my hands gripping the mug. After 10 years. Says she needs me. Tommy's grin faded, his eyes sharp. "That's heavy, Al. You gonna go?" I shrugged, my jaw tight. "Don't know." She cut me out for choosing this life. Tommy leaned forward, his voice firm. "You're a damn good man. Don't let her make you feel less." His words were a spark, bolstering my dignity, but the voicemail's pull was stronger, a mystery I needed to unravel. The pacing was thoughtful, the audience sensing my resolve in the slow clink of my tools, the way I stared at the phone, the maple leaves falling outside. I'd call her back, hear her out, but I'd guard my heart, my resilience a shield. Lillian's rejection had forged me, but her return was a test, a chance to face the scar and define my worth. I sat, the kitchen's light soft, and dialed her number, my breath steady, ready for whatever lay across the line, my quiet strength of fire that wouldn't dim. The Millhaven dusk was a smear of amber, the factory's smokestacks casting long shadows over the maple-lined streets. I sat in my duplex kitchen, the fluorescent light harsh on my callous hands, the phone still warm from the voicemail I'd played a dozen times. At 38, I, Alvin Carter, was a factory worker, my life a quiet testament to resilience after my mother, Lillian, disowned me a decade ago for choosing this path over her dreams of prestige. Her message, "Alvin, I need to see you. Please call," had cracked open a scar I thought had healed, stirring a storm of pain, confusion, and curiosity. As I dialed her number, my heart pounded, the suspense of our first meeting in years of wait I could barely carry. The voicemail, following her letter, was a jolt that lingered. Lillian's voice, older but sharp, held no warmth, only urgency, her plea vague. She needed help, No details given. I'd stare at the phone, the Ohio air thick with the scent of rain and motor oil, my internal monologue a churn. What do you want, Ma? After 10 years of silence? The scar of her rejection. You're no son of mine, throbbed. Her words a wound that had shaped my guarded heart. Yet, curiosity burned, a need to know why she'd reached out, whether she'd changed, or if this was another demand I couldn't meet. Pain anchored me, the memory of her cold dismissal a warning, but hope flickered, a chance, however slim, for reconciliation. My emotional conflict was a tangle, the audience feeling its weight in my tightened jaw, the way I paced the kitchen, the letter creased from handling. I wanted to hate her, to toss the phone and forget her plea, but she was my mother, the woman who'd read me stories, bandaged my knees, her ambition once a fire I'd warmed by. Her rejection had forged my resilience, my life in Millhaven a quiet dignity, but left a void, a question. Why wasn't I enough? Now, her call stirred confusion. Did she need money? Was she sick? Or was this a trap to judge me again? I longed to hear her say she was proud, but feared her voice would cut as it had before. I confided in Ruth, my neighbor, over her cornbread, the duplex warmth a contrast to my turmoil. She called Ruth. I said, my voice low, my brown eyes on the table. Says she needs me, but nothing else. I don't know what to do. Ruth's silver hair caught the light, her nurse's gaze sharp. That's a big ask after a decade, Alvin. What's your gut say? I shrugged, my hands gripping the mug. Part of me wants to go, see what she wants. Part wants to stay put, keep my peace. Ruth nodded, her voice firm. You've built a good life. Don't let her unravel it. But closure's worth something. Her words were a spark, fueling my curiosity, but pain held me back, the scar a reminder of her power to wound. The call to Lillian was a step into the unknown, the suspense building as I dialed, the line ringing in the quiet. Her voice answered, brisk but strained. Alvin, you called. No warmth, just fact. And my chest tightened. Yeah, Ma, got your letter, your message. What's going on? I asked, my tone even, my heart racing. She paused, the silence heavy. I need your help. It's complicated. Can you come to Burlington? No details, no apology. Her vagueness a hook. What kind of help? I pressed, my voice sharper. Another pause. It's personal. I can't explain over the phone. Please, just come. Her plea was a mix of pride and desperation, a tone I didn't recognize, and it hooked me deeper. I hesitated, the audience sensing my conflict in the clench of my fist, the way I stare at the factory's glow outside. I'll think about it, I said, my voice steady, guarding my heart. Give me a day. She sighed, a sound of relief or frustration. Thank you, Alvin. I'll be at the house. Saturday? I nodded, though she couldn't see, and hung up. The call of bridge I wasn't sure I could cross. Saturday was 3 days away. The meeting set, the suspense a tightening coil. What's so personal you can't say? I wondered, fear and curiosity warring, the scar pulsing with her voice. The days before the meeting were a slow burn, the audience feeling my tension in small moments. Pause at the factory line, my wrench still. Sketching a river, my line shaky. I told Tommy at break. The plant's on a backdrop. Gonna see my mom, I said, my voice low. She needs help, won't say why. Tommy's welder's grin faded, his eyes sharp. Be careful, Al. Family can pull you under. You're solid, though you'll handle it. His faith bolstered me, a reminder of my resilience. But doubt gnawed. Would Lillian see the man I'd become, or the failure she'd named me? I prepared for Burlington, the drive a 6-hour leap from Millhaven. I packed a duffel, my sketches tucked inside, a quiet proof of my worth. Ruth hugged me, her voice firm. You're enough, Alvin. Don't let her tell you different. Her words were armor, but the scar ached, Lillian's rejection a ghost in my rearview mirror. Flashback stung. Her pride at my science fair, her fury when I chose a factory, her silence as I walked away. I wanted answers, maybe forgiveness, but feared her judgment, her need a trap I couldn't see. The suspense peaked as I stood in the duplex, the maple swaying outside, the factory's rhythm distant. I'd face Lillian, hear her plea, but I'd protect the life I'd built, my work, my friends, my quiet dignity. The audience could feel the emotional tension, my heart a forge of pain and hope, the meeting a precipice. What do you need, Ma, and what will it cost me? I grabbed my keys, the letter in my pocket. Its words a weight I'd carry to Burlington. I, Alvin, humble and resilient, was ready to cross the divide, my strength a quiet fire, stoked by a decade of standing tall against the ashes of her rejection. The Burlington air was crisp, the Vermont hills dusted with early December snow, their quiet beauty a stark contrast to the storm in my chest. I stood on the porch of my mother's small cedar shingle house, my duffel at my feet, my calloused hands clenched. At 38, I, Alvin Carter, was a factory worker from Millhaven, Ohio, my life forged in the wake of my mother Lillian's rejection a decade ago for choosing a working-class path over her dreams of prestige. Her voicemail, "I need to see you," had pulled me here after 10 years of silence, and as I knocked, the door's creak opened a wound I'd thought scarred over. The confrontation that followed, raw with guilt and pain, revealed truths that shattered my understanding of her disownment and forced me to face the weight of her return. The drive had been a 6-hour blur, the maples flashing past, my sketches in the duffel a quiet anchor. Lillian's letter and voice had stirred a mix of curiosity, pain, and guarded hope, but her vagueness, needing help no details, kept my defenses up. The house was modest, a far cry from her old Millhaven colonial, its porch sagging, paint peeling. I knocked, my heart a drumbeat, and she opened the door, her green eyes sharp but sunken, her silver hair thin, her frame frielier than I remembered. "Alvin," she said, her voice a mix of relief and strain, no smile. "Come in." I stepped inside, the air heavy with lavender and dust, my resolve a shield against the scar of her words. "You're no son of mine." The living room was sparse, a faded couch, a coffee table with medical papers, a single photo of me as a kid, its presence a jolt. Lillian sat, her hands twisting, her principles poised frayed. "Thank you for coming," she said, her eyes avoiding mine. I set my duffel down, my voice steady but tight. "You said you needed help, Ma. What's going on?" The question hung, the audience feeling my tension, the way my brown eyes searched her face, the scar of her rejection pulsing. She took a breath, her voice low. "I'm sick, Alvin. Cancer. I need support, someone to be here." The word cancer was a punch, my breath catching, but her vagueness, support, kept me wary. I leaned forward, my hands gripping my knees, pain and confusion swirling. "Cancer? I'm sorry, Ma, but why me? You cut me out 10 years ago. Why now?" My voice cracked, the hurt spilling, the scar raw. Lillian's eyes welled, her hands trembling. "I was wrong, Alvin. I need to explain." She paused, her gaze distant, and the truth poured out, raw and unfiltered. "When you chose a factory, I saw a failure, not yours, but mine. I raised you alone, poured everything into making you great, to prove I was enough after your father left. Your choice felt like I'd failed as a mother." Her voice broke, guilt etching her face. "I disowned you to protect my pride, to hide my shame. It was never about you." The revelation hit like a hammer, the audience sensing my shock in my widened eyes. The way I gripped the couch. Her pride, not my worth. My internal monologue reeled. "You threw me away to save face?" Pain surged, a decade of believing I was less, unworthy, unraveling in her confession. "You let me think I was nothing," I said, my voice low, raw. "Do you know what that did to me? I built a life, Ma, but your words, they stuck, made me question everything. My anger was a fire, tempered by grief for the mother I'd loved, her ambition a blade that cut us both. Lillian's tears fell, her voice a whisper. I know. I was selfish, blind. I'm so sorry, Alvin. The second truth followed, her need laid bare. The cancer's advanced, she said, gesturing to the papers, oncology reports, bills piling up. I can't afford treatment alone. My savings are gone. The house is mortgaged. I need your help financially, maybe to stay here. Her shame was palpable, her pride a crumbled wall, but the request stung, a hook in my scar. She's back because she has no one else, I thought, confusion warring with pity. I stood, pacing, the room closing in, the lavender scent choking. You want my money, my time, after cutting me out? I asked, my voice shaking, the betrayal a fresh wound. I'm not a lawyer, Ma. I'm a factory worker. I don't have much. Lillian reached for me, her hand frail. I don't expect forgiveness, Alvin. I'm scared and you're all I have. Her honesty was a knife, her fear real, but it didn't erase the past. I pulled back, my heart a forge of pain and duty. She's dying, but she broke me first, my internal monologue cried, the scar map of my resilience. I saw her as she was, not the fierce mother of my childhood, but a woman humbled by illness, her pride the cost of our bond. I need time, I said, my voice steady, my eyes burning. This is a lot, Ma. I'll stay tonight, but I can't promise more. She nodded, her tears silent. The weight of our fractured bond a shared burden. The audience could feel my struggle, the raw honesty in my trembling hands, the way I stared at the photo of young me, her love a ghost. I processed the truths. Her disownment was her failure, not mine. Her need was born of desperation, not reconciliation. Guilt gnawed. Could I abandon her now, sick and alone? But pain held firm. Her rejection a decade of doubt I'd fought to overcome. I walked to the guest room, the floor creaking, the oncology papers a stark reality. What did I owe her? I wondered. My sketches in the duffel a reminder of my worth, my life in Millhaven a strength she'd never seen. The confrontation had bared us both, her guilt a mirror to my pain, the suspense of my choice a tightening coil. I lay on the narrow bed, the Vermont night silent, my heart torn between duty and self-preservation. The audience could sense the catharsis, my processing a step toward clarity, the truths of fire reshaping me. I'd face her again tomorrow, decide what I could give, but I'd guard my dignity, the scar of her rejection a lesson in my own strength. I closed my eyes, the factories hum a distant echo, ready to navigate the ruins of our bond, my resolve a quiet flame in the dark. The Vermont morning was a hush of frost, the Burlington hills shimmering under a pale sun, their quiet beauty a mirror to the resolve settling in my chest. I stood in the kitchen of my mother's cedar-shingled house, my duffel packed, my calloused hands steady as I poured coffee. At 38, I, Alvin Carter, was a factory worker from Millhaven, Ohio, my life a testament to resilience after my mother, Lillian, disowned me a decade ago for choosing a working-class path over her dreams of prestige. Her cancer diagnosis and plea for help had forced a raw confrontation, her confession. Her rejection stemmed from her own shame, not my worth, cracking open a scar I'd carried too long. Now, as she sat across from me, her green eyes frail but searching, I faced a choice that would define us both, my dignity a quiet fire guiding me to closure. The night had been sleepless, the guest room's creaking floor a rhythm to my thoughts. Lillian's truths, her pride-driven disownment, her desperate need for financial and emotional support, had left me torn. Pain lingered, her rejection a decade of doubt I'd fought to overcome, but pity stirred for the woman who'd raised me, now humbled by illness. My internal monologue was a forge. She broke me, but I'm not ashes. What do I owe her, and what do I owe myself? The audience could feel my struggle, the weight in my tightened jaw, the way I clutched my sketches, their lines of proof of my worth she'd never seen. Breakfast was a quiet stage for our final reckoning. Lillian's hands trembled as she sipped tea, her silver hair catching the light, her oncology papers a stark presence on the counter. I set my mug down, my voice calm, my brown eyes steady. "Ma, I've thought about what you asked. I need to say my piece before I decide." She nodded, her lips tight, bracing for my words. "You disowned me because I didn't fit your vision," I said, my tone even raw. "You made me feel worthless, and I carried that for years. I built a life, work I'm proud of, people who care. But your voice was always there, telling me I wasn't enough. Now you need me, and I'm here, but I can't erase what you did." Her tears fell silent, her guilt a shadow. "Alvin, I was wrong," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I see it now, your strength, your goodness. I don't deserve your help, but I'm asking." Her honesty was a balm, her pride gone, but it didn't heal the scar, only softened its edges. I leaned forward, my hands clasped, my choice forming. "I'll help, Ma, but on my terms," I said, my voice firm, my heart steady. "I'll pay for your treatment, what I can afford, and visit when I can. But I'm not moving here, not giving up my life. You hurt me, and I need boundaries to protect what I've built." The words were a line drawn, a balance of duty and self-respect, my growth a quiet triumph. Lillian's eyes widened, a mix of relief and sorrow. "Thank you, Alvin," she said, her hand reaching for mine, frail but warm. "I don't expect more. I'm proud of you." The word proud hit like a spark, a gift I'd craved, but it didn't erase the past, only lit the path forward. I squeezed her hand, a gesture of closure, not reconciliation, my heart lighter but scarred. "Get better, Ma," I said, my voice soft, final. "I'll call." I stood, the audience sensing my dignity instead of my shoulders. The duffel a symbol of my return to Millhaven, my life my own. The drive home was a release, the Vermont hills fading, Ohio's maples welcoming me back. I processed the confrontation, the audience feeling my catharsis in the steady hum of the truck, the sketches beside me a reminder of my resilience. Lillian's confession had freed me. Her rejection was her failure, not mine, her need a human plea, not a demand. I'd chosen to help, not out of resentment, but compassion, my boundaries a shield for the man I'd become. The scar remained, but it was a map, not a chain, guiding me to peace. Back in Millhaven, my duplex was a haven, its walls warm with my sketches, Ruth's cornbread waiting on the counter. I confided in her, the factory's glow outside, my voice steady. "I'm helping her, Ruth, but I'm keeping my life here." She's proud. She says, "But I don't need her to be. I know who I am." Ruth hugged me, her silver hair glowing. "You're a damn fine man, Alvin. Always were." Her words were a stone, grounding me, my growth a quiet strength the audience could feel. I returned to the factory, the machine's rhythm a homecoming, Tommy's grin a welcome. "You good, Al?" he asked, his welder's hands busy. I nodded, my smile real. "Yeah, I am." I worked, my hands sure, the conveyor mirror to my steadiness. Evenings I sketched a bridge, its arches strong, a symbol of my journey. I joined Tommy's kids' baseball game, their cheers a new warmth, my heart opening. The scar no longer a wall. Ruth's dinners, fishing trips, my sketches of the market. They wove a life I'd chosen, its thread stronger than Lillian's rejection. Closure came on a crisp evening. As I stood by Millhaven's lake, the water silver under the moon, I held Lillian's letter, its words. "I need you," a ghost I'd faced. I tore it, the pieces drifting into the lake, a symbolic release of her hold. "I'm enough," my internal monologue vowed, the scar mark of my triumph, not defeat. The audience could feel my peace, a satisfying art of a man who'd chosen self-respect over resentment, his dignity a quiet flame. I walked home, the maples swaying, the factories hum a distant pulse. Lillian's illness was a road I'd walk with her, but Millhaven was my anchor, My life a canvas I'd paint with my own hands. The audience was left with my growth, a humble man who'd face his mother's ashes and forge a stronger heart. It's beat a testament to resilience, closure, and the inner peace of knowing I was, and always had been, enough.